Alright guys, I've got a bit of a story for you. So, the story that I have for you today is about Mario Maker. Mario Maker is not exactly a game that I've really played for the past year. I think the last time I really opened it up and played it even a little was maybe like 6 months ago, right? So, this Sunday, someone at work had mentioned the game, asking about if I still played it. And I was like, oh, not really. I used to make stuff on it, but I really don't mess with it anymore, right? And then it got me thinking about the game, so I loaded it up on the following Monday, the very next day. So I load up Mario Maker on Monday, and I'm greeted with something when I load up. You know what I got? A notification. Well, there's actually a lot of notifications of people played my levels, people beat my world record, so on and so forth, right? All kinds of notifications. But then I get to my list of levels, and I run into a different notification. This is like a notification I've never seen before, right? I'm going to put up on screen real quick one such example, right? So here is roughly the notification that I got. For this one, it was a course titled Sucker for Pain, and it stated, "This course has been deleted because it contained content that was identified as a bug in the game. See the Nintendo Code of Conduct in the Nintendo Account User Agreement for more information." I thought, my gosh, that's weird. I don't really use bugs in my level. Well, there is one that I have a bug in. I suppose, yeah, actually. And I was surprised it hadn't gotten taken down, but I don't know why this one got taken down. I thought that was rather weird. But, so I click A through it, and I'm like, okay, whatever. I didn't really care so much about that level. I think that one took me maybe a few hours to make, at most. And then it was almost no time to upload it. So really not too worried about it, right? But then, I press A, and you know what happens? There's another one. There's another one. But it's not even just that. There was more. There was 8 levels that got removed. I thought, man, that's really weird. They must have thought there was a lot of like bug abuse in my levels, but like really there's only one that I thought should have gotten removed for it having an exploit, which was actually this one that did get removed. It did get removed, which I'm going to show that one real quick just because I think that's a neat level. But I'm going to show that real quick, and then we'll get back on topic, right? So let's jump over to our Mario Maker real quick. Let's jump over here. That's not the level, don't worry. We're going to jump over into Course Bot real quick. Gosh, do I even want to know? Tell me something got removed. Okay, God, it's just notifications. I'm hoping. All right, one sec. Let's show this level real quick. I'll cut ahead to once I find it. Okay, so this one wholeheartedly should have gotten removed, and it did. This one was, the floor is sometimes lava. Because the floor is sometimes lava in this level, it is not always lava. Very interesting level. It makes use of a glitch that has to do with, the vine blocks instead of mushroom platforms, right? All of these are mushroom platforms. There's nothing different about them, but I can stand on this one. If you'll notice, you can't stand on that one. And can we stand on that one? Yes, we can. We can tell because I give a fire flower, and that makes it so you can see exactly what ones are and are not lava. See that? That's lava, right? So, that one's lava too. So we're going to jump ahead, so on and so forth, right? Oh, and that one's lava, so we're going to jump all the way over here, right? But I'm not trying to show this level. This is just an example of, hey, this level should have gotten removed. And it was. And that's great, right? I didn't make any of them that you couldn't reach with a fire flower. So both of those, alright, nice and easy. Super easy. All of those are mushroom platforms. That is bug abuse. That is a glitch. That is an exploit. So that should have gotten removed, and it was. And that's absolutely appropriate, right? But a lot of these levels that got removed, they weren't. As far as I'm aware, they're not bug exploits, right? Let's look into it. It's interesting. Almost all of the levels that got removed, from what I was looking at, they all seem to share one same thing. the same thing is a similar setup to each other, which we're going to jump back over to the other scene real quick. So I'm going to show you exactly what it is, right? Because you can still make this, right? We're going to go to Course Maker, right? We're going to clear all this and just full reset, right? It is a fresh level. There's nothing in here, right?
Super Mario Maker, Mario Maker, Mario Maker, Mario Maker.
So, super easy. The setup is as follows, right? We just take a spike block as such, and we take a ground block as such, right? So, now we have an area that we hypothetically can't really get into is our problem, is this little gap. Because no matter how small we jump, we're always going to hit that spike. It looks like it's close some of these times, but it will always hit that spike, is the problem there. But there's something I found a long time ago, which is that if you do this little hop movement here, you can get through that, right? Hop, and then immediately following hop. So that is what I've deemed the buffer jump, right? Which I know it sounds dumb for me to say I've deemed it as that because, you know, the community knows about this trick and it's been around forever, right? It's been around since about 2019, which, fun fact with that, I believe I have the first ever time that was seen in a level. I think I have the original level that has used this trick, which is Heroic Plumber versus One Spiky Boy. You'll notice that I don't have the ability to upload this level. On the very top of that, there is a bit of a circle. Here, let me try and outline it real quick. Let me pull up my little drawing bit here. If you look right here, this is outlined with a little motion right there saying you cannot upload this level. Whereas some of the other levels, they've got no such thing right here. It is not outlined in the same way, right? So this level, it uses exactly that trick. Mind you, you'll notice that I cannot upload this level. It is grayed out because this is one of the ones that got removed. You cannot upload this course because it's identical to a course that was deleted on the server side, right? So I can't upload this level, which means it was deleted for having some kind of bug. Let's go and delve into it and see what kind of bug exploits I've been up to. So if you look at this level, my gosh, it is just that jump, isn't it? It's just that jump. It's just a buffer jump. That's all it is, right? So hard to input, right? My gosh, look at that glitched level we've just done. So, this level got removed as something that is heinous. So bad. Cannot exist in the servers. This is from all the way back in, if we look at it, this is from 2019, late 2019, right? This is actually, I think, just a few months after the game came out. I want to say about 3 months after, if I'm remembering right off the top of my head. It's, I think, like 3-4 months, right? So, level got removed, and this one I think is the one that really, like, set it off of, okay, so if this one got removed, that kind of makes sense, because I know that this one, buffer jumping skill check, got removed. This is a skill check to test your ability to do buffer jumps. So now we have 2 instances of buffer jump removed. But wait, this one screen basic kaizo also had a buffer jump. And then Sucker for Pain had a buffer jump. This one right here was notably removed for a different bug. But again, everything else was removed for having buffer jumps, which I think is interesting. So I guess we're calling that a bug, right? That jump that you very clearly can input consistently. So my thoughts are, I think they maybe, like, there's people who are using a bug to do that same effect. If you know what I mean, they were using a bug or an exploit to get into that same through a narrow gap, and that now that setup is triggering it and flagging it as a hacked level or something of that nature, right? So The levels got removed. That was Monday morning that I saw it. Right now we're on Thursday. So the levels get removed. I'm like, man, that's weird. I built up the setup real quick, just like you saw a moment ago. And I was like, okay, so maybe they must have removed buffer jumps from the game. Because when they find something like that they consider or deem a bug, they normally remove whatever that bug is, or they don't let you upload a level that contains that, right? But that's not the case here. You absolutely can still upload those levels. It does not bar you from doing so. If I tried to remake The Floor is Sometimes Lava, the one right here that got removed, that would not let me. It would find exactly what I'm doing to make that effect with the mushroom platforms happen. It would prevent me from uploading the level. That is exactly what occurs, right? So it's very strange. If it's being deemed a bug, maybe whatever it was that was a bug has been removed or fixed, but it's still there. So I got a funny idea. So I was talking to my community on it. After I found it as that's what I think the issue is. And so I went to bed. And I got up in the morning. We're talking Tuesday morning. And I thought to myself, you know what would be funny? It'd be really funny, I think, if I talked to Nintendo. Because, like, I could contact Nintendo about this. There'd be no reason to, because there's no reason, or sorry, not no reason. There's zero likelihood that they would reinstate these levels, right? But it'd be funny if I tried to get them reinstated, because, like, realistically, what were the levels removed for? It says a bug exploit. But was that a bug exploit? Maybe. I don't think so, but maybe. But I don't see it as one. At least from my perspective, my opinion, right? So, I figured, what's the worst that could happen? Let's talk to Nintendo and see what Nintendo has to say on this matter, right? Alright, so I load up the Nintendo website and I find their contact us option, and it takes me through a bit of automated chat thing that I assume is AI or some kind of automation of some kind, right? And it makes it very clear that that's what's going on, and then eventually it realizes it can't help me, so it directs me over to a person, which fantastic, right? Exactly what you want to see. It sends me over to someone named Grethel, which I think Grethel is an interesting name. Maybe I'd use that for a D&D character sometime, right? But it doesn't spark hope that it is a real person, especially off the bat. Let's start our conversation with Grethel. So we get in our Nintendo support chat with Grethel. He hits me with, or she, they hit me with, thank you for contacting Nintendo. My name is Grethel. How can I help you today? So I go, hey there, Grethel. Thanks for helping me today. I'm experiencing an issue with my game Mario Maker 2, which because at this point he doesn't know or they don't know what my issue is. I'm going to assume it's a he just to make my vocabulary easier going forward. So he doesn't know what's going on off the bat, and it's an all-around Nintendo support chat. This isn't just one for Mario Maker, right? It is just all of Nintendo. So, with that, I let him know, hey, I'm having an issue with Mario Maker 2, right? He goes, hi, John. I'm sorry to hear that you're having issues with this, but I'll be more than happy to help assist and get into a resolution to this. Please be aware that I'll be asking you some question through our interaction. I was like, okay, that's fine. All right. There's some interesting grammar here, which makes me think that I might be speaking to someone who's maybe not necessarily a native English speaker, right? Which, in that instance, it does lean me towards believing off the bat that maybe it's not AI, right? I think that it would have the sentence structure would have been different if it were AI. So it puts me off to a good lead that I think I'm talking to a person. Let's continue our conversation with Grethel. So, We continue our conversation with Grethel, and I say, hey, I went to log on to the game last night, and I was alerted that 8 levels of mine were deleted for having bug exploits, in quotes. I can confirm that one of them likely did have a bug in it, but the other 7 that were deleted just use a technical jump that still exists in the game to this day, because I tested it and I made sure it works prior. He goes, thank you for sharing this information. I go, I am interested in having the other 7 levels that were removed reinstated, as they do not violate the Nintendo TOS and were wrongly taken down. I make it clear that's my point from the start, right? So, what did Grethel have to say in response? Let's go into it. He goes, thank you for sharing. Are you getting any error messages or error codes? I go on to explain, no, I'm not getting any codes. I just had the images that I showed you, which popped up. I asked if he wanted all of the examples or all of them sent, or maybe just one as an example, right? Grethel lets me know they want 2. Absolutely. Here are 2. So I give Grethel 2. We go forward. I go, it states they were removed because of a bug that violates TOS. I believe they were falsely flagged. They contain no bugs. Grethel tells me, thank you for sharing. Please allow me 2 minutes while I take a look into this for you. I say thank you, and they say you're welcome. Very kind in the chat. I'm very, very, very nice at all points to everyone that I talk to. Don't worry. So we continue our conversation with Grethel. And Grethel hits me with this. What are you doing, Grethel? He goes, to ensure that all players have a positive experience with our games, we sometimes have to delete content that doesn't follow the guidelines outlined in our community guidelines. It is not possible to restore content after it has been deleted. I will share this link for you so you can take a look. Oh, Grethel, why have you done this to me? So, we continue. And they triple respond to me here. And they say, thank you for sharing this information. Courses that include bugs that were unintended by either the course creator or the developers will be deleted. It's important that we remove levels with bugs quickly, because letting these levels remain in Course World can lead to negative outcomes for many players, such as experiencing levels in unfair ways that the original course creator did not intend, or rewriting world record times. You know, Grethel makes a good point here. I totally understand why these guidelines exist. You're not wrong, Grethel. You're just a little misguided. So I say to him, Grethel, the problem is that those levels shouldn't be violating anything in the community guidelines. I absolutely understand why you have them, the guidelines, but they should not violate those guidelines. That clip there should clearly demonstrate that technical trick, which the level Heroic Plumber versus One Spiky Boy simply implemented that trick twice in a row, which I showed you that level at this point already. So, at this point, I have now shown Grethel the trick, right? I have sent Grethel the information. We continue. Grethel goes, I understand. To avoid having further content removed or restriction placed on your use of Nintendo account services, please only post content that complies. It's very strong-fisted of you, Grethel. I don't know what I've done to deserve it. So I go, that content does comply. That doesn't answer anything. Immediately take him out back and tell him how it is, you know? All right, we go into deeper. I will show you the level played real quick, and I send Grethel a video file of 10 seconds of doing the level of Heroic Plumber versus One Spiky Boy to really just demonstrate, hey, this isn't a bug, this is just how the game works, right? Grethel hits me with this. I appreciate your information. I go, that's exactly the level that was removed. What in there doesn't comply? It's just a jump. We witnessed it. It's just a jump. we get to the end of the conversation with Gretel, which I'm gonna have to crop out a little bit here or cover it up, just as protection in Nintendo here a little bit. So Gretel goes, I see. I go, the only levels that were removed contain that setup. How is that even possibly a bug? Escalate this ticket if possible. Right? Which I'm going to remove the phone number here. But Gretel goes, I understand your concern. You can speak to a member of our outreach team by calling Nintendo at blah, blah, blah. Team members are available 7 days a week, except major holidays. Blah, blah, blah. When you call, please give the reference number, which I have cropped out as well. So, at this point, I could just leave it be, right? I could just not call Nintendo, and I could not follow up. I wouldn't get to a resolution here, and I very, very likely by calling Nintendo wouldn't get to a resolution anyways, right? But I figure for the bit I've got to call Nintendo, right? Like at most I'm gonna spend like an hour or something on the phone, and I probably spent like a week or more real time creating the 8 levels that were removed. Not even like if you go into the time of uploading them, because my levels are difficult kaizo levels. Some of them might take me like 5 different days of 2 or 3 hours of attempts to clear. An hour on the line with Nintendo, like that's fine, right? I have woken up. It is 8 a.m. I don't wake up at 8 a.m. I've got like 3 hours before I have obligations. So like I could get on the phone with Nintendo. You know what? Let's do it. So I call up Nintendo, which obviously I don't have screenshots for a phone call with Nintendo. But I have my written summary of it because I was updating my Discord all throughout of letting them know, all right, I'm going to give you guys the follow-up. I could have recorded it based on like state laws, whatever, but I opted not to record the phone call. I just didn't want to. So I get on the phone call with, I believe her name, it was something like Aurelia. I don't think that was precisely it, but it was something to that effect, right? So I'm going to outright say she wasn't the most helpful. She started with saying that she's going to review the previous chat log from the reference number that I gave her, which is totally valid. So we spend about, I want to say 10 minutes, the first 8 to 10 minutes of they were just reviewing it. Then, so about 5 minutes into reviewing it, they said, give me just a moment. I just need to check something else. And absolutely. No problem. Take as much time as you need. And then she reviews it a little bit more, and she goes, all right, I've checked over everything in the chat log. And I go, okay, perfect. And then I continue, just confirming then you've reviewed all of the relevant videos and information sent. Because I did include videos of the level being cleared and like currently cleared, not just its original upload, but that it is currently able to be cleared and doesn't contain any bugs. I just showed the level, right? And she does list herself as a supervisor in the initial phone call. And she says, yes, I've looked at everything in the chat log. Be just another moment reviewing something, right? So I gave it a few more minutes. I don't say anything. I'm just sitting here waiting patiently. I'm very nice on the phone. Just like, yeah, absolutely. Take as much time as you need. I'm not worried about it. Yeah, go for it. It don't matter. I don't give a fuck. It's fine, right? Because I'm in it for the bit. I just want to hear what they have to say. If I'm honest, I think there's zero chance that the level gets reinstated. Any of them. I think there's zero chance they get reinstated because, like, is Nintendo really gonna overturn that and put them back up? No, I don't think so. But it says that I've violated the TOS, and it says that I've abused bugs and exploits, and I mean, based on the level. So, like, what bug or exploit did I abuse? I suppose is my question, right? So, like, if I abused a bug, I'd like to know what the bug I abused was, specifically what in the level is wrong so that I don't make that mistake again. Right? That's a fair take. I'd like to know how I broke the rule so that I don't break the rules with future content. I think that's an entirely valid take. I don't expect to get a resolution, but I continue on, right? Press forward. So she goes. There's almost verbatim of what she says after a wait time. She says, "Okay, I reviewed further other things. I just need to look into more information to see what more information I can give you further." All right, sounds good. Yeah, absolutely. Take as much time as you need. And then she says again. This is about 2 minutes later. She says, "This is again almost verbatim. All right, just checking some information here. Just pulling up some more information so I can see what information I can provide you with." This point, I try not to laugh. I don't laugh at all. I hold myself and I go, "Alrighty, sounds good. Absolutely. Whenever you got anything, you just let me know." And then after a moment, I made a guess because she was looking up more information. So I guessed, mind you, I guessed wrongly. I said, "I'm just curious. Are you trying to look up what kind of flags can exist for a level to see what of the level has like gotten flagged in the system?" She corrects and is like, "No, I'm actually pulling up a tool to check and see what information they gave when reviewing the level and removing it," which is totally valid. I'd assume they have some kind of team involved in the reviewing process, or maybe like one guy that they lock in the basement all chained up, right? After a few more moments, she says, "Still pulling up more information as well as pulling up your account." It's like, yeah, absolutely, go for it. Do whatever you gotta do. She asked me when the levels were removed, which I don't have a precise answer to this because I said from the start that I haven't really actually played this game for about a year. But like I think I streamed it like 6 months ago. So I say, I'm really not sure. I haven't opened the game for some time. I'm assuming a bit over 6 months. And she confirms that's about the date I'm seeing here, so that makes sense. The report says, and mind you, this didn't make sense to me in the moment. I didn't really understand what she was saying, and I followed up on that, which she said that the report of why the level got removed was because the level that it said that I was saying how to beat the level, and the information that I was giving for how to beat the level was false, so that it was reported and removed. Which, for reference, nowhere in the description, hold on, let's jump back to this scene over here. We have Heroic Plumber versus one Spiky Boy. That doesn't tell you how to beat the level. And then I've got the description of who will win the deadliest spike you've ever met. And that's a statement saying that the spike's going to win, right? So at no point in the title do I say how to beat the level, and at no point in the description do I say how to beat the level, and I don't leave a comment in my levels saying how to beat the level. So that's just inherently false to say that I incorrectly told people how to beat the level. It's just not true, right? It's just not factually correct. So for me, that's a problem because I'm being told it was removed for this reason, which is also not in tune with saying, hold 1 second, let me pull up the image. Because if that statement of why it's removed is correct, then this statement is wrong, right? Because this says that it was identified as a bug in the game and that I need to review the code of conduct. So she states there was a report for that, and this states that it was is a bug. So what is it, right? Why were 8 levels removed? Okay, seven levels. We already know why this one right here, the floor is sometimes lava. We know why that was removed. That one's not in question here. The other 7, we don't know why those are removed at this point, right? So that didn't make sense to me, right? And then I basically expressed it to her like, I understand that that's what you're seeing on your end of why it was removed, but I suppose like you got to see my let's say how that could create a frustration on my end because based on what you're saying of why the level was removed, and based on everything we can see with the level, be it the title of the level, the description of the level, and that I didn't comment on the level, then we can infer that it doesn't go against that because I'm not breaking that hypothetical rule of incorrectly telling people how to beat the level, right? So in tune, why she goes on to explain why, because she assumes, she goes on to explain, well, I can't put the level back up, I don't have the ability to do so. I go, absolutely, but I still don't see how I've broken a rule for why the level should have gotten removed, right? And she goes, well, I'm not really an expert, so looking at the video, I really can't tell you, which the level is just a clear video of Heroic Plumber versus One Spiky Boy. I already showed you how to beat that level, right? I already played it through in this video that we're watching, right? Or that you're watching. So, like, she says, well, I'm not an expert, so I really can't tell you if there was a bug or anything in that or exploit in that level that you showed. And I go, well, I mean, it's just a jump, right? Like, it was just jumping under the spike. So, like, what possible exploit could have occurred in that instance there? And she goes, well, I'm really not an expert, and I can't put the level back up anyways. I go, okay, so there's a different team handles it. She goes, yes, there's a different team that handles any kind of reports with the game or anything like that. I go, absolutely, okay, awesome. Can I talk to that team that is involved with the game so maybe they can explain to me what is wrong with the level and why it was taken down? Because that's all I want from this, is someone to concisely tell me, why did the level get removed? Mind you, I'm not like, my heart's in it for the bit, not for the rage over my level. Does that make sense? Like, just give me a reason, right? I don't expect to maybe get one, and I at no point do I expect the level's gonna go back up by Nintendo putting it back up. I just want to know why it was taken down, because I feel like I'm owed that. Yeah, we can see right here it says a bug in the game. See the Nintendo Code of Conduct. Yeah. But what is the bug? What have I broken, right? She goes, well, so she explains that team doesn't take phone calls, so I can't go and get transferred over to them. She's like, all right, can I get taken? Can you escalate this further to someone else that could potentially answer that question? I get like a bit of a sigh, and she goes, yeah, I can escalate you further. Once again, perfect, thank you. It's been real nice talking to you, Aurelia. Apologies if I got your name wrong. And she goes, yeah, it was good talking to you too, John. Which I was super nice the entire time, I swear. So she escalates me up, and I get to this guy who sounds real tired. And he had a bit of a higher toned voice, and he sounded like an absolute nerd, which you love to see it, right? I go into there, and he introduces himself as Aaron. I go, oh, nice to meet you, Aaron. My name's John. We pleasantries. He goes, I haven't had coffee this morning. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry to hear that, man. I haven't had coffee or anything yet either. I might actually have an energy drink soon. But anyway, sorry. Hi there. My name is John. And he introduces himself, so on and so forth. And he asks me what my issue is for the today. What am I struggling with? So we talk a bit, and I explained to him the issue that I'm having. He asked for the reference number for the chat. And then he goes back in the chat with the original Grethel, and he looks over everything that I've talked with them on thus far, right? Aaron looks over into my full account. Everything with my Nintendo account, especially to do with Mario Maker 2. He goes and explains, well, I can see that two levels were reported and removed in 2019. There was just another brick in the wall and 0% clear rate 20-second speed run, which, for reference, that was one of the ones that just got removed. So I quickly state to him, no, that's just simply not the case. No, that's not true, because, and I can show you. So if we look right here, we can see this level that is cleared and has the upload option. We can't upload it because it's already been uploaded. It's already still up. And what's that date on there? My gosh, 2019. That's been up since 2019. That's not taken down. That's still up. So outright, I explained, like, no, that's not correct, because that level's still up. It never got taken down. And the other one that you had stated, the 0% clear rate 20-second speed run, that just got removed somewhere in the last 6 months. So that's just not correct. And so I explain all that, and he looks further into it. He looks into my account. At some point, he mentions that he appreciates my level design. Maybe that's flattery, but I appreciate the flattery. Thanks, man. Thanks for the recognition from a Nintendo higher up that you appreciate my level design. Yo, thanks, fam. And he looks into everything that I've reported or been reported for, and he basically he ends up going, man, you've reported a lot of really inappropriate things. And I go, oh yeah, there's some real bad stuff in this game, actually. People putting up inappropriate symbols, if you will, or they're otherwise drawing them on as comments on levels, things like that, right? Things of that nature. You can see all of that, and he ends up going into it, and he can see that I was sent those messages about the levels being removed, but from his end, he can't actually see that the levels were ever taken down. All of those levels that I showed you, every single one of those, as far as Nintendo is concerned, or at least this higher up who is looking at everything within my account, all the reports, all the things that were potentially taken down, as far as he can tell, these levels were never removed. And I think that's really interesting, right? So we end the conversation on, okay, so let me get this straight, right? Just so, like, I have the timeline correct in my head. I say that in the phone call. I say, so the levels were at some point deleted around in the last 6 months, at which point, when they were deleted, you can see the alerts that were sent to me that they were deleted. And Aaron confirmed that. Yes, he can see that the levels were removed, but he cannot see them ever having been removed. So I can continue. Okay, so continuing the timeline, and on your end, there's nothing in the logs and other stuff that says anything about them being deleted, as well as you personally are unable to reinstate the levels, and if someone else on the team could reinstate the levels, if someone else could, all of their information is, like, effectively deleted anyways. All the, like, first clears, all the comments, all of that is just removed anyways. So, like, it'd be the same as if I re-upload the level, right? Which he confirmed. So then I said, as far as I can tell, this isn't from your perspective, but as far as I can tell, they don't violate anything of the game rules as for why they were removed, right? And he confirmed ish. He says, even from his end, as far as I can tell, so as far as he can tell, nothing of the levels contains bug abuse. And then he calls to Carl Sagan here. He says, I've seen Carl Sagan 42, which is a big maker in the Mario Maker space. He plays a lot of very ingenious troll levels, a lot of which do abuse actual bugs or exploits in the game. He says, based on the things that he's seen there, nothing as far as he can tell of my level contain anything of a bug or exploit, but he states he's not an expert, which, fair take, right? So I continue, okay, so based on everything that I can draw from this then, I should be able to re-upload those levels, right? As I still have their save data and their completion data, I should be able to re-upload them because they don't actually, as far as we can tell, contain anything against Nintendo TOS. You don't know why they got taken down, and I don't know why they got taken down. But it says there was a bug on them. It says there was a bug or exploit on them. But Nintendo doesn't know why they got taken down, or at least this third tier higher up in the hierarchy of getting bounced around Nintendo, up a supervisor to another supervisor, and he says it is pretty much as high as you go. Like, nobody else is gonna be able to see any information more than I can see right here on all of your accounts. It's like, okay, fair enough, right? And he can't see why it got removed. So I basically asked about it so I can re-upload them, and he says, as far as I can tell, based off of my information, yes, but I can't guarantee they will not get removed again. Which, fair take from him, because he doesn't know why they got removed based off any information. He doesn't know why they got removed. So he doesn't see why they would get removed, but he can't guarantee that they won't, considering they got removed for some reason, right? And I absolutely understand that. But, like, is there any kind of, like, green flag or, like, any kind of non-issue you can mark to them, right? To say, like, hey, this is a non-issue, just don't take it down, it's fine. He explains, no, nothing like that exists in their systems, but he can put a flag or documentation to my account that this issue did come up. That way, if it does come up that something gets removed from my account, that they can see that this occurred in the past, and they can give me more information as to why it did even occur, right? Well, I thanked him for his help, and I wished him on the best of his day, because from what I drew from this, I can re-upload the levels. There's nothing wrong with the levels, as far as they can tell. There's no reason they should have gotten removed, right? Well, he said to me that I had been a breath of fresh air, which probably more flattery, but I'll take it, because this guy probably he's like third tier up into supervisors at Nintendo. He probably has to deal with absolute bullshit, right? Of people being very angry. I'm like the one not angry guy he has to deal with in a day, maybe, right? In my hypothetical mindset of how their call system works. So at this point, I've got to struggle because I've got a level that was very, very, very difficult, which was this specific one right here, fair and balanced. This one, I spent a lot of time building this level. I ran into an issue because I wanted to go and re-upload it. Which, let's jump back over to this scene over here. And let's find fair and balanced. I need to go over to fair and balanced, not over there, but over here. You'll see I have fair and balanced right here. Let's move my camera a little bit. But I've got the problem here that says that this upload button is grayed out. I have cleared it, but I cannot upload it because you cannot upload this level because it's identical to a course that was deleted on the server side. So they've deleted this course information from the server side. I tried adjusting it. I tried changing the name. I tried changing the description. I tried changing it into a different theme. I tried going back into and adjusting like a slight something or other, moving a block, right? Because I could re-clear check it. It'd be kind of difficult, but I could re-clear check it, right? And I even moved some blocks around, and it still has some kind of integral part of the level, prevents it from being re-uploaded because it's been documented as something deleted server side. So then I had to remake the level block for block. Block for block. I took photos and I remade everything. I changed I changed the subworld. I altered it from what it was originally designed as, and I also changed the ending a little bit. But this has been part one of a 3-part series, if you will. Next part is me remaking the entire level from scratch, talking to chat, having a good time, in which I learned some more information about why the level got removed, and about over 200 more levels that got removed. But we'll talk about that more in the next video. So, Nintendo took down my level because of a technical jump that I believe I may be the original creator to, the Bufferjump. Let's get back into it in the next video. Thank you for being here. If you made it to the end, maybe you should subscribe to the channel or whatever, right? But there's me another video. It's going to go live, which is me making the entire level. And in part 3, we clear the entire level again, uploading it on stream. But we'll get to that part when we get to that part. Thank you for being here. You guys have a wonderful day. This has all been one take. Have a great day.